One of the biggest regrets that I've had when it comes to Pokemon in general, so whether it be my collecting days or my playing days or my investing slash business owner days, however you want to phrase it, one of my biggest regrets was not being able to keep an open mind. And over the past 6, 7 years now, goodness, it's been so long. Over the past 6, 7 years, I've tried my best to make sure to keep an open mind on everything in life, not just Pokemon, really in life, and understanding that everybody is going to approach situations differently. Everybody's going to look at things from a different angle. And that's why listening is so important. You might hear what somebody is saying in a video, but listening is really the most important thing. Understanding where other people are coming from is really important. When I started a business back in 2014, 2015, about trading cards, and Pokemon was much different then than what it is now. My friends, the people who I got into business with, we were really dedicated to the competitive side of the TCG. We played competitively. We liked going to events, and the business didn't end up working out, and that's fine. Mistakes are made. Failure happens. That's all part of life. But at the time, we really focused on the competitive side of the Pokemon trading card game. And that was it to us. That was everything that mattered to us. All that we really focused on was the 1,000 people that would come to a regional event, or at that time it was 700-800 masters that would come to a regional event. We would focus on, at the time, the Pokemon trading card game online, PTCGO, and finding different people that we could kind of sell to in that area, focus on competitive cards and upload cards like that to the website and try to provide fair pricing, because at the time you had Shaman EX just kind of blowing up, and later on Tapu Lele GX just blowing up in price, and it got very expensive for a lot of competitive players, and that was our focus. One of the greatest mistakes that we made during that time, and when I talk about regrets, was I didn't pay attention to everything else that went on in Pokemon. And I think that's something that we, as Pokemon hobbyists or enthusiasts, and this is something that I try and get across to the channel. Maybe I don't do an eloquent job of phrasing things and whatever, but it's important to keep an open mind for whatever is important to somebody involving Pokemon. So when you are involved in Pokemon, and what you like about Pokemon might not be the same thing that somebody else likes about Pokemon, and that's okay. The important thing is that you both like Pokemon. What you're here for might be different, but the important thing is you share that quality, you share that mutual interest in the Pokemon trading card game. And I think that's very important when you start analyzing different people's perspective when it comes to Pokemon. And that was something that I really wish I could have changed a long time ago. It's something that I would have understood better back then, and I really haven't. And that was a very long introduction to something that's really doesn't really involve this video whatsoever, but it was something that I just really wanted to say, and a point that I just really wanted to get across is that it's important to keep an open mind on everything. We're going to talk today. This has nothing to do with the video. Paradox Rift was a lot of fun. I love Paradox Rift. In this video, we're going to go back to Paldea Evolved, which I believe is still the best set in the Sword and Shield, or in the Scarlet and Violet block, in the Scarlet and Violet area. You can let me know in the comments section down below. Like, hey Fanny, that first 3 minutes was pointless. Hey Fanny, I disagree. I don't think Paldea Evolved is the best. Whatever you want to say. Comment whatever you want. But I still think Paldea Evolved is the best. But I think Paradox Rift is really going to make an argument. I've got a lot of questions, a lot of comments about Paradox Rift and the playability aspect of Paradox Rift. And when we talk about values of a set, when we talk about how good a set is going to do, especially during its circulation days, especially when it's in format, a lot of it kind of boils down to how those ancillary cards are going to perform in the market, especially their playability side of things. So if you look at Paradox Rift right now, and we'll look at pricing later on in the week on Paradox Rift, because it's still a little bit early to tell, but if you start looking at some of those ancillary cards, like Earthen Vessel, for example, just a trainer card, just an item card, but an important item card, one that might get played a decent amount. If you can discard a card from your hand, you can find 2 basic energies from your deck, you can attach that to a Pokemon, or you can put them in your hand. Like, that's something that could really help out in the consistency side of the game, something like Counter Catcher. Now, there's a lot of those cards that have already been opened up because Paradox Rift just came out, so a lot of that stuff is on the market, which is going to bring down the price a little bit. But if you look at the other ancillary cards in the set, and we're talking about regular art EXs and lower rarity, we're not talking about the higher rarity stuff, The cards that are a little bit easier to pull, cards like Iron Hands, which is selling for $8-9, Iron Valiant, which is selling for $8-9, Golden Go, which is selling for $8-9, and then you talk about like Roaring Moon EX, which the regular art is selling for $18 to $20, not even including the special illustration rare, which has jumped up over $100, probably partially because of how difficult it is to pull, but also because it has a lot of playability when it comes, or possibilities involving playability when it comes to the competitive TCG. And a lot of questions are going to be answered this upcoming weekend when the Latin American International Championships happen, because a lot of these cards are all going to be legal, so these cards are going to be played. So understanding what's doing well, and if you look over in Japan and you see what's going on in tournaments over there where Paradox Rift or Raging Surf is already legal, you can see some of these variants of Golden Go, of Iron Hands, of Iron Valiant, some of these variants of Roaring Moon making an impact and winning challenges over there, which are then going to translate to what players are going to play at the Latin America International Championships this weekend. Because if these decks are better than Gardevoir, better than Lugia, better than Lost Box, better than what's already out there, better than Charizard, then these are the decks that are going to play, which is going to hold value for Paradox Rift for a while. However, it's still too unknown. It's still too early in the game because Paradox Rift did just come out. So we haven't had any tournaments under our belt yet to see what's actually going to happen. And because of that, Paldea Evolved continues to be the best set when it comes to opening up product and getting the most bang for your buck, getting the most value out of the Scarlet and Violet era. And that's what we're going to talk about right here. What value you should expect from your Paldea Evolved booster box, because there are cards that are dropping in price. Like the Iono special illustration rare has dropped from about $100 down to the low 80s, which is a big time drop. You're talking about 20% over the past month and a half, which is substantial. However, the overall value, the overall contents of that booster box has actually stayed relatively flat over the past month because other cards, other ancillary cards, are actually going up in price. So I'm going to flip you guys around so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm very sorry for the long rant, but that's just me. So I hope you guys are okay with that. I don't have anybody else to talk to about this. So you guys are my friends, right? My friends. We're going to talk about Paldea Evolved, and what we're going to do is we're going to associate the lowest price possibility, what you can be expected to sell these cards from, and for the most part, or sell these cards for, the value that's associated with them. For the most part, all of your double rares, all your regular art EXs are basically all bulk EX pricing. There's only two outliers, only two cards that sell for a little bit more than bulk, and that is strictly because of their playability, because of the competitive connotations that are associated with the card. And this could all change once Paldea Evolved rotates, but that won't be for a long time. You're not looking for a couple of years down the road. We're talking right now about which Pokemon product you should open. Like right now, you can buy Paldea Evolved booster boxes for $90, $85, $80, $90. If you're buying by a case, you can buy them for a very decent price point. And the cards that are inside, beautiful artwork, but also a lot of playability. So if you're looking to open something, have fun with the kids, and just enjoy the hobby, these are cards that you might be able to open up that are going to have value associated with them, where you get the most out of your booster box that you can then use to trade off and firm up collection pieces, or however you might want to live your life involving Pokemon cards. This is something where you can spend $90 and expect to get close to $90 in pulls. So we have basically bulk EXs on just about everything, but when it comes to the competitive cards, you have this Chine-Pao right here. Chine-Pao selling for $7 currently, so it went up a little bit, despite the fact that it does have a starter deck available, so a different variant of Chine-Pao EX is available, but this one's still from the set, the regular art EX, selling for $7, has $7 value associated with it. And then you've got the Squawkabilly down here because of its ability. It's a little bit of a liability on the bench, but because of its ability, it does have some competitive playability associated with it. So selling for a little bit better than bulk pricing at $3. If we look at the ultra rares, the full arts over here, there's not a whole lot that jumps off the page at you. Nothing in this set is above double digits. Everything is single digits or below. You have the Meowscarada at $4, pretty much $2 for everything else except for this Chine-Pao over here, which is $9. Then Bellybolt's down to $2. Slowking EX at $3. That's that full art Terra. Same thing with the Denny. That one's at $3. But then you have Tinkaton, which a lot of people like Tinkaton. Tinkaton a little bit more expensive. That one's currently sitting at $7. Lycanroc, that's a bulk one. Annihilate just barely above bulk at $3. Tinglu, Paldea and Cloudsire, Copperajah, and Noivern also selling for $2. And then you have the Squawkabilly, which is a full art variant, so a little bit harder to pull. However, only $4, so just $1 more than the regular art. But then you have a bunch of full art supporters in this set, including that Iono, which is currently at $36. Boss's Orders, another very playable card, currently selling for $7. That's the one with Getsis, that full art Getsis one, super cool looking. Clavel's only $2, Denjo's only $3, Faulkner, Giacomo, and Saguro also only at $2, except for Grusha, which is at $3. That's the only outlier there. If we look at the still illustration rares, these are the ones that are really starting to kind of pop off in a lot of different areas. So Heracross has already climbed to $9. There's a lot of them in this set, a lot of them that have spiked up to that double digit point. Tropius is at $5. That Spear Gatito is at $10. Florigato is at $5. Bramblin is at $4. Fletchinger is at $4. And Pyro is at $4. So a little bit cheaper as well. Fuecoco currently at $10 and Crocolore at $6. However, look what the Magikarp has done. This one was expected to drop down to like maybe the 20s, maybe low 30s, and it continues to rise. At one point in time, this one was down to about $49. About a month ago, it was at $52, $53, and now it's risen up to $59. So that Magikarp holding the test of time just because of its collectability, not necessarily because of its playability. A lot of people just like the artwork, they want the card, and with the amount of illustration rares in Paldea Evolved, despite the fact that you're getting 3 illustration rares per booster box, since there are so many of them, a little difficult to pull that Magikarp in specific. Meryl's currently sitting at $9. That cool looking Ice Cube with the fridge, that one's at $7. Quaxly's at $4, Quaxwell is at $3, Frigibax is at $8, Arctibax is at $3, and Baxcalibur at $13. Now, those are very cool looking cards. Also does have playability associated with them, especially with that Chinpao EX deck doing well. Raichu, the illustration are currently at $18. That one went down a little bit. Miss Magius is at $7, Gotharita is at $3, Sandygast is at $4, Rabsk is at $3, Tinkatink and Tinkatuff are both at $5. The Paldean Tauros went down a little bit to $6, but Sudowoodo went up a little bit to $8. Knackley's at $3, Paldean Whooper's at $3, and Tyranitar actually went down a couple dollars. So that one's currently sitting at $20 currently. Giraffari, $4, Orthworm at $3. Mousehold has actually gone up quite a bit. It's one of the more expensive ones in the set. It's the 4th most expensive illustration. We're currently sitting at $13. Filmigo, $4. Farigiraf, $5. Dudunsparce is currently sitting at $4. If we look at the special illustration rares, there's, like I said, that Iono has dropped considerably. Everything else not too expensive, but it does add up when you're getting close to 2. And this is why Paradox Rift's pull rate change was so big. The fact that you're only getting 1 per booster box between either a hyper rare or special illustration rare and special illustration rare, whereas before you were getting closer to 2 special illustration rares per booster box. It changes a lot, especially when you have values of these cards that are hovering right around the upper double digits or $20 or somewhere around there. Meowscarada currently at $13. I'm just going to point out some of these for you. That Chi-Yu went down a little bit, down to $16. Chime-Pow has basically stayed flat this entire time. It's currently sitting at $28. Tinkaton, the special illustration rare, currently selling for $16. Squawkabilly, very playable card. The special illustration rare is gorgeous, only selling for about $12 right now. Boss's Order is currently sitting at $15. Dendra at $14. Grusha at $15. And there's that Iono that we were talking about before. It's dropped down to $83. If we look at the hyper rares, not a whole lot worth noting here. A lot of single digit cards. However, something like the Super Rod, for example, continues to climb in price. That card is up to $17 currently. Superior Energy Retrieval is about $9. The common card, or the uncommon of Superior Energy Retrieval in the set, has jumped up a little bit as well, about $1 there, and that's why we're talking about those ancillary values being very, very important. Grass Energy's at $6, the Water Energy's at $11. Other than that, like I said, not a whole lot of things that you really need to point out. Ting-Lu, $3 for a gold card. Absolutely insane. So if we break all this down, and this is where pull rates matter big time. So you're getting 12.27 average hits per booster box, which is a little up from Paradox Rift, where you got 11.8 or somewhere around there. 1 hit out of every 3 packs. The double rares are very different. So you got 4.86 as far as double rares go on average out of your Paldea Evolved booster box. You get almost a full double rare more out of Paradox Rift. So 1 out of every 7 packs for Paldea Evolved, probably 1 out of every 6-ish packs for Paradox Rift. Your average price for double rares when it comes to Paldea Evolved right now is $2.35. It's going to be a little bit higher for Paradox Rift, actually quite a bit higher for Paradox Rift when you have a lot of those ancillary cards. Those regular art EX is selling for $9, $10, all the way up to $18. That means your average total per box is about $11.41 in double rares. If we look at full arts, your full art ultra rares, you're getting 2.37 per booster box. It's 1 out of every 15 packs. Average price associated with those full arts is $4.31, so not too expensive, but you're getting 2.37 per booster box. That means your average, your total per box is expected to be about $10.22. Illustration rares, again, this is a big difference right here. You get 3 in Paldea Evolved, which is a little bit different than what we see in Paradox Rift, where it's closer to like 2.6, somewhere around there. 1 out of every 12 packs. Your average price of illustration rares is $7.89. Now, yes, that is going to be somewhat, because of Magikarp, obviously it's a little bit higher than what it probably should be, but you do have other cards in the set, like that Mousehold that we were talking about, Baxcalibur, Tyranitar, Raichu. There's several other cards that are selling for above that $700 or $7.89 price point, so that does influence the price a little bit. So you could pull multiples of those, as well as, you know, a Raichu or one of the more expensive ones like Magikarp. Total per box, you're expecting to get about $23.67. When it comes to average special illustration rares, you're looking at 1.31 per box, which is much better than what we're seeing with Paradox Rift, which is typically like 0.8 per box or 0.7 per box, as opposed to 1.31. Huge difference. 1 out of every 27 packs instead of like 1 out of every 45 packs. Your average price for special illustration rares, remember, it's going to be impacted a little bit by that Iono, but as that Iono continues to come down and other cards in the set continue to level out or go up a little bit, that makes a huge difference as well. Average price point is $17.27 per special illustration rare, meaning your total value per booster box is expected to be about $22.70. Your average hyper rares, those gold cards, you're getting 0.73 per box, but if you add that 2 special illustration rares, typically you're going to get 2 per box between those 2 rarities, as opposed to Paradox Rift, where you're only getting 1. That's 1 out of every 49 packs for those hyper rares. Your average price on the hyper rare is $8. That means per box you're expecting a total value of $5.83. But then I did put in here these just random common, uncommon trainer cards that are actually selling for a decent amount of value. So Iono continues to climb, especially if you have multiple copies of Iono. It continues to climb because a lot of people and players who go to buy cards on TCG Player are looking for play sets of specific cards. And if you're only finding 1 Iono on there for $3.75, and then you've got to pay 99 cents shipping, or you have one seller on TCG Player who's selling it for $4.07 with shipping included, obviously it's going to be a much different mindset for a lot of players because they want to get a play set at once. But these are selling for $4 a piece currently. Jet Energy is up to $2. It's actually down a little bit from where it was about a month ago. Superior Energy Retrieval, like we said, but selling for about $1 a piece right now. Same thing with the Reversal Energy, selling for about $1 a piece right now as well. And that really impacts the value of the box that you're opening up. So your total value of hits when it comes to a Paldea Evolved booster box, you're looking at $73.83. So all your ultra rares added together, but because of the ancillary value in the box, you're looking at about $20 in extra ancillary revenue between those trainer cards, between the bulk, between the codes, things like that. You should be expecting approximately $20 worth of ancillary value out of your booster box, which brings your total value per box that's expected right around $93.83. Now, your market price on a booster box of Paldea Evolved currently is $97.32. It continues to drop down further and further, and it's if you buy like the case, for example, like I said, you can find cases for $550 or so. You can find them for less than $90 a box if you're buying by the case. But just buying out of market price at $97.32, you're looking at $3.49 in fun cost to open up 36 packs of Paldea Evolved, which is super good. Paldea Evolved, a very good set, especially when it comes to competitive play for now. I don't know what it's going to be like in 5 years, 10 years, anything like that, but I can tell you right now, this is probably going to be the best bang for your buck because of its attractive pull rates, but also because of its playability. So if you're looking for something fun, you want to open packs for fun, you want to hang out with the family, you want to build decks, a lot of stuff that you could do. Obviously, singles is probably going to be the way to go. Don't open up packs expecting to make money or expecting to get value back, but the numbers show that the value is there when it comes to Paldea Evolved. So I hope you like the content. If you do, please hit that subscribe button down below. Sorry again for the rant at the beginning. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video and just hang out. It means a lot to me. So thank you so much for everything. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow. Until then, peace.